Today is August 14th, and you know who I am. I am the Wood Dog, DAWG, and I just keep it real. But this is my segment, just keeping it real. Why? Because keeping it real is the only thing that I know how to do. That's what I do. I just keeping it real, and you're on my channel with just keeping it real with the Wood Dog. And just like any other of my segments, I want you to subscribe to my channel, like and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out. It helps me keep this content coming your way because keeping it real is the only thing that I know how to do. I don't cut no corners and I don't sugarcoat nothing. And I'm going to break it down to you here today. I'm going to talk about two things today and two things only in detail. Okay. The first thing we're going to talk about today is obstruction of justice. Who is above the law, below the law, and who can go around the law? According to the Wayne County prosecutor, Kim Worthy, she said on record numerous times, especially during the Kwame Kilpatrick trial, and many other times that she had to stand at her podium and tell everyone in the citizens in Wayne County, no one, regardless of social status, job, or money, is above the law. No one, no exceptions. That's what she said. Now let's just dive right into what's going on. About a week ago, there was a traffic stop made by a deputy assigned to the Wayne County Sheriff's Road Patrol, and those deputies have broad powers. Um, they are a deputy has jurisdiction every city, township, and village in this county. Okay, let's make that clear. People need to understand that deputies are not just assigned to downtown Detroit, and that's the only place they can work. They have police power in every city, township, and village in the county. So there's 43 cities and communities in Wayne County that they can enforce the law in, including traffic. Okay. Now, what happened a week ago is very disturbing. And you have to ask yourself if you, as a regular Joe Blow citizen in this county that pays taxes just like I do, would you get the same break that this person sought and this person and another person that I'm going to speak on is getting? The answer to that is no, you would not. But we have the assistant CEO of Wayne County, Mr. Assad Turfe. This is Mr. Assad Turfe. You see this picture? This man is the second in command of Wayne County under the current Wayne County CEO, Warren Evans, Mr. Assad Turfe. You're probably going to see his face pop up in the next sheriff election because I'm sure once he runs out his time with Warren Evans, he's going to try to bump over and run to be the next Wayne County sheriff after we get that sly of a sheriff, Raphael Washington, out of the picture. We're going to get on his butt in a minute. But Mr. Assad Turfe, when I heard about what was going on with him, I was very surprised and very disturbed by what I've been hearing and what my sources has been telling me. So this is the assistant CEO of Wayne County, Assad Turfe. Okay, his grandfather was stopped by a deputy, don't know the city, township, or village in the county on a lawful probable cause traffic stop. And from what my sources are telling me, that Mr. Assad Turfe's grandfather was OWI. That means operating while impaired. If you can remember 15 years ago in other places of the country, driving under the influence was called DUI, driving under the influence. But the law was changed to OWI, operating while impaired. So not only does the law cover alcohol, it covers uh, high alcohol content cough syrup, prescription medication, over the counter medication, heroin, cocaine, marijuana, any kind of drug, anything that can make you impaired to operate a vehicle. Okay. That's why the law was changed to OWI. I remember when I was a deputy before I retired, you all know I did over 30 years with the Wayne County Sheriff's Department. So I know the police procedure. And I've made numerous arrests for operating while impaired, no license, suspended license, license never obtained, uh, reckless driving, you name it. I've done it. I've made the arrests on it. I've did the paperwork on it, and I've testified in court numerous times on this situation. But it appears that the assistant CEO of Wayne County, Mr. Assad Turfe, feels that his relative, his grandfather, is above the law. Okay. He can't be held accountable to what the rest of us in the community are being held accountable for. How does he get stopped on a probable cause stop by a licensed certified deputy? The deputy who made this traffic stop, is he a deputy? Yes. Is he a road patrol certified trained to work on the street deputy? Yes. Is he a MCO's licensed police officer in Michigan with authority in the state of Michigan under Michigan Council on Law Enforcement Standards? Yes. So he had every right, every bit of authority to make that traffic stop and make a determination that Mr. Assad Turfe's grandfather was under the influence of something, whether it was alcohol, drugs, illicit drugs, or prescription drugs. I don't know. All I know, it was OWI, operating while impaired. I haven't seen the police report. And this is another thing. I guarantee you with all moral certainty that any paperwork on this traffic stop is being withheld. Uh, I'm sure that any citations that the deputy issued Assistant CEO Assad Turfe's grandfather are being withheld. But let me make this clear. If a police officer, yes, police officers are frontline supervisors, there's many levels of supervision over a street officer. But when that officer takes an action, his actions cannot be obstructed or impeded by supervision. Supervisors are merely reading over a report. When they sign a police officer's report, they're not signing that they agree to what the officer's synopsis of the police report, whatever it is. The supervisor is merely signing that they received it and they checked it for grammatical errors and stuff like that. They can't sit down with the officer. I think you should put this in there because that's obstructing. And if the OWI was processed or modified by supervision, okay, that's a supervisor call. But why was the deputy supervisor penalized like the officer? And what I mean by that, just because the officer took action and ultimately, from what I'm hearing, impounded a vehicle belonging to the he is the grandfather of CEO Assad Turfe. Both the deputy and the supervisor, who the deputy called for guidance when the person started name dropping on the traffic stop of who his grandson was. Why was he doing that? He was name dropping because he knew he was wrong and he felt like he had leverage to get out of the traffic stop by dropping the name of his grandson, who was the assistant CEO of Wayne County under the Wayne County executive Warren Evans. That's why he was name dropping. If the deputy was doing his job, why was he transferred to the jail outside of his union bidded seniority position without a hearing, without any discipline whatsoever, just moved? Yeah. They're doing damage control. They're trying to keep his grandfather out of trouble. Why is the current Wayne County Sheriff, Raphael Washington, allowing this to happen? The assistant CEO does not run the sheriff's department. The sheriff runs the sheriff's department. So there's no doubt in my mind that Assad Turfe contacted him to find out what was going on with his grandfather. He's in political mode, still passing out ice cream, lying to citizens, going to multiple depositions, as you've heard me say in the past, for sexual harassment lawsuits showing people sexual illicit material on his cell phone. This is the sheriff of Wayne County. All right. But he's trying to, I guess, trying to cozy up to Assad Turfe because Assad Turfe is works right underneath the Wayne County executive Warren Evans. Like he has some influence on what's going to happen with the budget with the sheriff's office. Assad Turfe felt emboldened to intervene in a police matter because he used to be a Wayne County sheriff. But let me make this clear. Sometimes he lets it be known that he used to work for the sheriff's department and stuff like that. But Assad Turfe never worked on the street. He never made an arrest on the street. He never confiscated any drugs, knives, guns, never removed any rapists, sex offenders, or murderers off the street like me and my partners did when I was working on the street for the Wayne County Sheriff's Department. He never did any of those things. He was just a jailer at the jail, went to the police academy like the rest of us, went to the police academy, went right back to the jail, and he was a test taker. He took the test and got promoted. Actually, he went over to the Wayne County Executive's office under Warren Evans, and it's my belief that he got posthumously promoted to sergeant, then lieutenant, at the CEO's office because the Wayne County Charter allows the county executive to appoint a person outside of civil service testing to the rank of sergeant and lieutenant. I'm not sure if he probably took the test, but it wouldn't even matter if the CEO can appoint these people to the next rank and then the next rank above that. And it's another couple people that got those type of promotions. But he wasn't no street cop. You know, there's a lot of ways that they could have handled that. They could have let that situation go to court. He hire an attorney for his grandfather, and then his attorney go into court on court day and try to work something out with the prosecutor. But no, they try to make it seem like the deputy was doing something wrong, something that he didn't have the right to do or the authority to do, or he should have just gave him a break just because he said that Assad Turfe was his grandson out there on the street, caught dead to rights wrong. And this is what's happening with the Wayne County Sheriff's Department. But like I said, if they obstructed the deputy's police report, that's obstruction of justice and that's a family felony. If there was any citations written to the grandfather of Assad Turfe, that's obstruction of justice. And they can't hide that. They can't hide that. Officers are issued citation books. And every citation that an officer issues to a citizen, it is a it is a number on every ticket. They are accountable. You have to be accountable for each citation because that is an official court document. And if that document is issued, whether it's a traffic ticket for a seatbelt, speeding, no insurance, or whatever, that citation has to work its way through the court system because it has a number on it, and the officer has to sign for those citation books and it's an official court record. And when you impede that, that's why I used to make copies of my run sheets and the citation numbers of the citations that I issued, and I kept them at my house because I stopped a couple people when I was on the street, a judge that was smoking marijuana in my park down in Elizabeth Park, you know, caught a drunk judge when I was assigned to Highland Park doing the police contract for them 4 or 5 years we were working in there. A judge plows through 6 Mile, runs through a red light, and hits an off-duty officer. You know, I was off for 2 days, came back to work. I kept my road patrol bag underneath the bench in the locker room. I didn't keep it in my patrol car. 'Cause I never know who would be using my car. I came back. My road patrol bag had been rummaged through, but I kept the driver's license of this particular elected official. And I kept made copies of the paperwork. The paperwork that I had in my patrol bag was missing. Okay. Then um before I got back, it was my locker was opened in the locker room without a union steward. To open up an officer's locker, uh, the union has to be notified. So I know what they were looking for. They were looking for the driver's license of that elected official that I locked up, and I still remember who it is. I don't know. I don't think that I think the judge is off the bench now. Yeah, she might have passed away. But anyway, uh, uh, I know what they were looking for in my patrol bag and in my locker, which was locked with a combination lock, on there, you know. And so to get in my locker, they brought a dog to sniff out all the lockers to try to justify going in my locker. And from what I was told, because I was off, they say, ain't no drugs. Frank Wood don't smoke dope. He don't use dope. So how does a dog hit on my locker? To give them justification to go through my locker. I knew they were in there because I'm a very neat, organized person. My shirts are hanging a certain way, pants, my gun belt, everything is hanging in a certain way. They couldn't put it back the same way that I left it before my couple days off in a row. So I knew somebody had been in my locker and I knew what they was looking for. Okay. So the deputy and the supervisor were transferred to the jail. Now they're backpedaling, say, well, they just got reassigned because they're doing an investigation. It ain't too much investigation need to be done. If the person wasn't arrested afterwards, I mean, the officer can impound a car and cite a person and release them on scene, pending uh, a warrant request by the detectives or the investigators. But to just move those officers to the jail just because this person is has a grandson who happens to be the CEO, Assad Turfe, that was wrong, you know. And they have the deputy is in a protected class. He's a unionized civil servant, and so is the supervisor. Unfortunately, from what I hear, the supervisor is a discretionary appointment out there, so they don't have to send them back. I don't know why a person would want to work in a discretionary status for more than 1 or 2 years without seeking a union spot. So you got some bid rights, arbitration rights, and grievance rights. Okay, but that's what's going on. And if the prosecutor of Wayne County has been on record numerous times saying that no one is above the law, then what happened with this matter with Assad Turfy's grandfather? If you, a regular citizen, was stopped for drunk driving, you think you get a break? You think they would let you go? You think they wouldn't write you any tickets? If you was dropping names, would they help you? No, because you don't know nobody like that. You don't know people in high places like this. He is the second in command of Wayne County. That's not right. And they know it's not right. And Sheriff Raphael Washington didn't even have the cojones or the jewels or the marbles to stand up for his deputy. That's why deputies don't want to do anything with the sheriff's department. And stories keep coming out like this. That's why all the good police applicants are not applying for the sheriff's department. They applying for the Michigan State Police. They applying for Detroit, Grand Blanc, Sterling Heights, Southfield. They're going everywhere except Wayne County. The only people that's applying for Wayne County to either be a jailer or a deputy are just bottom of the barrel people with misdemeanors and some felonies that they can get expunged, just bottom of the barrel people. They're not getting quality applicants. They're getting the bottom of the barrel. They come in, work 6 or 7 months, and they quit. Yeah, this is the wood dog. And I'm going to just keep it real. Like I said, this is what I do. Just keeping it real. And you with the wood dog. Now, I got one more thing, and then I'm going to shut this down. Um, Back in April of this year, there is a sheriff supervisor named Michael Dennis. Michael Dennis is a white male, and he called an inmate doing a disciplinary move. And disciplinary moves where they got to move an inmate because he's acting the fool or whatever. This sergeant called the inmate a nigger. Look, ain't no sugarcoating. This is him. This is Sergeant Michael Dennis. I talked about this on Facebook about a couple months ago. but Facebook only keeps videos and stuff up for 30 days. So I went back to my YouTube platform because I just keep it real. And I'm keeping it real on this guy. And he did call that inmate the N word, a nigger. Yes, he did. Why I know? Because he apologized. He tried to apologize. He did it, right? And nothing has happened to him. But he has a relationship with with the undersheriff of Wayne County, Mike Jafer. And I've showed his picture on my other segment that's up there that I did uh, about the 24th of last month on Bishop Charles Ellis. It's on my YouTube channel. So subscribe to my channel, like and subscribe and watch that one. But here we are again. This is Sergeant Michael Dennis. He's still working at the jail right now over there on Russell and Ferry, the new Wayne County jail. They have done nothing to him. And he probably has some leverage because what I hear, he's donated money to Raphael Washington's campaign. From what I hear, he donated a horse to the mounted division. Some people like this with resources, you wonder why they even bother being a cop. You know how much money it costs to buy a horse? Thousands of dollars. Buying a horse costs almost as buying a top of the line Harley Davidson motorcycle, or a Cadillac. And then the maintenance and maintenance of these horses. And right here, he donated one and money. No rec. I wonder if the money that he donated to his campaign is on Raphael Washington's campaign finance report. Or maybe he donated the money outside of the election period and it can't be accounted for. So maybe that's why he don't want to touch this guy and he can go around the jail calling inmates niggers and get away with it you know and what's even more disturbing is that it was a witness, it was a civilian female witness. She reported it, and so because she was, I guess, a non-unionized civilian person, she got let go. I think it was partly her getting let go and her quitting because she knew that they wasn't doing nothing to this guy, Michael Dennis of the Wayne County Sheriff's Department. Yeah. And for him to say that in a county, in a jail where most of the people and the inmates are African American, that's in his spirit to say that. And he said it numerous times before. He probably so comfortable. And from what I hear, it was other black deputies present when he said it. And just for the record, the officers who were present when he said it, I know who you are. So when you see me in the community or you see me at a Wayne County event and I see you, I know that you were there and you didn't stand up for that inmate. There is a standing policy in every police department after George Floyd. In 2022, before I retired from the Wayne County Sheriff's Department after over 30 years of service, I remember signing a document saying duty to intervene. If your partner or someone in the sheriff's department or your agency, Detroit Police, State Police, is being abusive verbally or physically, you are obligated to intervene and stop the abuse, whether it's verbal or physical. And that did not happen with the bystanders who heard him call an inmate a nigger or the N word to keep it polite, politically correct. Michael Dennis. Nothing since April of this year has been done to him about that. He wants to try to apologize his way out of it. See, these are the type of things that's going on in Wayne County, you know. But I found it very disturbing for them to be blocking OWI, and I'm glad that the deputy did not let that man drive that car and impounded it. Because if he had a drove away from that deputy's traffic stop and caused an accident in the community where he killed or injured somebody, or he drove away and drove into a house or a business causing hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of damage, then the deputy would be liable all over the place, as well as his supervisor who knew about it. But instead, the deputy and the supervisor put a stop to it. And what do they get? They get transferred outside of their unit out at the sheriff's road patrol back to the jail division. hmm But I'm just glad that no matter what happened, he was not allowed to drive that car. We've been seeing on the news day after day, week after week, people running into buildings, crashing cars, injuring people. People have died running into buildings and stuff. And that deputy did his job. He did it. He did his job. I'm sure it was some rule bending because he had to call his supervisor because the grandfather was dropping the name of the assistant CEO of Wayne County. They should have just let that situation play out and let the grandfather get a deal in court, not on the street like that, and then penalize the deputy for doing his job. I took cars from many of people who didn't deserve to be on the road, especially during a time of day where people are picking up kids, grandkids, and big mama from school, church, and work, you know. And then you got a loose cannon out here driving around. What did they want the deputy to do? Just let them get back in the car and drive away and cause the damage that disturbing that I discussed, that I just told you? Well, you know how I do it. I do not want to go over 30 minutes. I'm at 26 minutes right now. And this is the wood dog. And I have always told everyone this is my segment, just keeping it real. Subscribe to my channel. And I want to thank each and every one of you for listening. Thank you very much. And there's more to come. Stay tuned.